Make the okay. Tell me when you can hear me. So I want to make this class so interactive, right? So first of all, is it okay? Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, we can. We can hear you, Nasser.
Okay. All right. So I want to make the class as interactive as possible. How many of us here have used Azure? Right? If you have used Azure, how many? How many of us have used Azure before? I can see
Well,
around
I
18 people. Um, okay. All right. So I also want to know in what extent have you used Azure? Right? Is it just like you create a free resource, you got the $200, you created a VM? I can see Johnson here. Johnson, you're not a user. Johnson is a pro. I can see Paul, obviously Paul. So, but okay, but let me just explain, right? I believe we all know what the cloud is, what Azure is, and all that. So, let me just talk a little bit about Azure Directory. Then I can talk about the slides and all that. Okay, so Azure Active Directory is like Microsoft way, is Microsoft IDP. What I mean IDP, I mean identity provider for everything cloud. When I'm everything cloud. Okay, think for example, before Azure Active Directory, there's Active Directory on premise. That's the one we always knew, right? How many of us know what I mean by Azure Active? I believe we all know what I mean by when I mention when I mention Active Directory on premise, right? All know what that means. Hello, yeah, you guys can be quiet, please.
Yeah. We
Okay,
know. We know what that means.
okay, all right. So sorry, I need some kind of response. I've switched from my CZT Unlimited to my MTN mobile just to get
yes, we
fast
can hear
internet.
you.
I don't understand what is that. So okay, so
Yeah, we can hear you.
all right. So Active Directory on premise is basically what we used to have before, right? We used to have domains, people joining to domains and people Kerberos and the
Well,
authentication
I have
protocol.
used it briefly.
Sorry, can you hear me? I didn't hear you, Suleiman. Suleiman, you said something. Suleiman, you said something. Okay, so I'll continue. So
Yeah, well, I created the GM.
a VM on Azure. Okay, that's good. So basically, what we are talking about today is Azure Active Directory. But before I go that long, I want to explain to you why Microsoft had to create Azure Active Directory Azure Active Directory in the first place. So we all know that we don't know on-premise Active Directory, the one that Microsoft has, the one that when you create, it requires you to create a Windows server and you set it up. You add it as a Windows role and features, right? Basically, create a domain controller and all that. So one of the reasons why Microsoft moved to create Azure Active Directory is because of the what we people call modern authentication protocols. On premise, use this what we call legacy authentication protocol. That is your Kerberos, your NTLM. So Kerberos has to do with ticketing kind of authentication. Whereas when you come to Azure Active Directory, it makes use of what we call the modern authentication protocols, the OAuth 2.0, the OpenID Connect, the SAML, and the rest. So what do I mean by this? For example, think at it for example. For you to be able to achieve
Yes,
SSO,
yes, yes,
Suleiman, can you
yes,
hear me?
yes.
Suleiman, he can mute your mic if you're talking to someone else. Okay, so Microsoft needed a solution that will help with the modern authentication protocols. For example, the way the fact that you can't go to Google, for example, and be able to do SSO. For example, if you log on to Gmail, for example, and you want to open Google Drive, it doesn't prompt you for a new for a new authentication, right? All those kind of things, SSO, right? SSO for that to happen, Microsoft needs to introduce OAuth need to make use of the modern authentication protocols, which is OAuth and the rest. So for them to do that, they needed a new Active Directory, which is different from for legacy auth, right? Legacy authentication protocols, which is the what Active Directory, the old Active Directory is. Now that's why they moved to Azure Active Directory. So I'll just run through the slides so that we can at least basically that will make more sense. Okay, this is, can you see my screen? So this is what we have now, right? You have your on-premise, right? You have your private cloud in house. You have your Office 365. You have your applications. For example, some of us have Teams on our phones, right? Right. For example, most of our also have other applications that mobile SaaS applications. So basically,
Yes, we can hear you.
Suleiman, I'm sensing some lag.
Okay.
Hello,
Okay.
is it lagging
Hello,
or is it just
Nonso.
Suleiman, please? Yes.
Okay. Hello, Nonso. Just hold on. So,
No,
everyone, please, if you have,
Okay.
so that we could have a clean
I
class.
can
Hold on. So that we could have a clean class.
hear you.
Sulaiman, hold on.
Can hear you.
Hold on, Sulaiman. So that we could have a clean class. If you have any questions or any complaints, just put it in the chat box. So we'll always check it so that we could have a clean class and it won't
You can
interrupt
go on.
our speakers. Okay, thank you very much. Please, Sulaiman, mute your mic, please. Thank you. Yeah, boss, please continue.
Okay, so basically what Microsoft tried to do with their Azure Active Directory is to bring like a single source of authentication, like we call it IDP for all their SaaS applications. For example, it's not just, it doesn't have to be Microsoft applications. For example, it could be a Salesforce, it could be a Twitter, for example, it could be Facebook. So Microsoft is doing a solution whereby if you have an application and you want it to authenticate, we can provide an IDP, basically an identity provider for you to authenticate all your applications. So they are also saying that your on-premise applications can also be authenticated with Azure Active Directory. As we go forward, I will try to explain the products in under Microsoft Azure Active Directory that can actually do this. For now, let me just move forward, please. So I think I've explained this. So basically now, there's this talk that's going on saying identity as a control plane. There's identity is new security. What do I mean by this? Okay, for example, for you to basically you find out that it's near impossible now to stop security, right? To stop hacks. So what are they doing now? What are they doing? Basically, you do what they call a limited identity, and it is in the sense that you limit what people have access to. And how are you able to do that in today's world? People want to be able to work from home. People want to be able to bring their own device. You can, if you are working in a startup, for example, you can have your user that say, I don't want to work with Windows system. I want to work with a MacBook. For example, last week I was training some CBN staffs, and I had a station whereby all of them, 90% of the class, not all of them, came with a MacBook. Right. So okay. So what am I telling you? So it means that people are more comfortable. People want to work on their own devices. They don't want to work on the devices you give them. I remember in the olden days, for example, when
Yeah. No, I can hear you.
okay, so I remember in the olden days, for example, if you are running an enterprise, for example, and you want your users to be able to work from home, you have to give them their own laptop. You have to give them their particular phone for them to check your phones. They have to give them their a particular phone. It used to be BlackBerry, for example. They say, okay, BlackBerry is meant for the enterprise. These days, some users, basically, all your user doesn't want to carry two phones. They want to be able to check their emails from their iPhones or Android phones. They want they bought for themselves. They don't want to be carrying two separate devices. So all this is Azure Active Directory can provide a single identity to all your applications, to your on-premise, to your SaaS app, to your cloud apps, everything. So basically, I think I thought about it as a control plane. So what do you have here? Well, do you want a situation whereby a customer wants to bring his own devices? Bring their own devices. They want to use their phone. They want to use a particular, let's say iPhone 11 that just came out. They want to use their phone. What do? You can allow them to use Azure Active Directory as the authentication. The authentication whereby you develop an application, you're a developer. So you develop an application. You want your users. Oh, I want Azure Active Directory to as the IDP, the one that would handle the authentication. You can use Azure Active Directory. Oh, do you want a situation whereby you want to sync your on-premise users? What I mean by sync, you want to copy the things you have on premise to the cloud. You want to copy your users. You want to a situation whereby, oh, okay, let's say for example, if my user is working from house, I don't want a situation whereby they come all the way to the premise. I want it to authenticate with Azure Active Directory. You can do that. So, do you want to do you want to use as a commercial IDP? Let's say you want to use Facebook or Twitter or Ping Identity. You can even use that with Azure Identity. So Azure Identity has grown to be very, very, I want to call it very, very robust in the sense that no matter what you want to do, no matter what the angle you want to go, Azure Identity Azure Active Directory can provide the identity for you. So this is basically what we have now. I know this figures have changed. We have 4.2 million organizations using Azure Identity. We have over 1 billion identities. This is growing every year, obviously. Okay, we have 334 third-party applications in Azure AD. We have 64 paid AD EMS customers, and over 90% of Fortune 500 companies use Azure Identity. I sincerely believe that the people that 1 minute. I sincerely believe that 10% of people that know using probably the IBMs, the Amazon, and the Apple. Okay, what can it benefit you? What are customers doing with Azure Active Directory? It can help them to contain cost. You can do self-service password reset. After I will show you guys an example of that. You can do automated access to your SaaS applications. You can remove management to your on-premise apps. I mentioned before, for example, you can have legacy apps that are actually on-premise, and those apps probably you don't want to move them to the cloud yet, but you want a situation whereby your users can be able to authenticate to those apps. Azure Active Directory can help you with that. Okay, and you say, and you can have a scenario whereby, oh, okay, I want a situation whereby I want Azure Active Directory to help me to authenticate. Some users, some of my users use Facebook, they use LinkedIn, they use GitHub. Let's say now I'm doing an application for students in the university. The likelihood of me getting them to come and register, do sign in and sign up and sign in, it might be difficult. But I want a situation whereby I want with their Facebook account, I want them to be able to log into my application, to my app. Azure Active Directory can help you do that with what we call Azure AD B2C. Okay, you can do, Azure Active Directory can also do what we call device management. For example, you want a situation whereby you want to be able to remotely wipe your colleagues, the devices in your organization. You can use the device management in Tune, for example, to do that. So basically, anything you want to do when it comes to identity, Azure Active Directory can help you do that. By the side, you can see the examples here. You can see the examples of customers that are using this. For example, in terms of the device management, you can see IBM is using it, Skywest Airlines is using it, Delta Airlines is using it, the UK Ministry of Justice is using this. So Azure Active Directory basically spans through a lot of every area you want to think about in terms of identity. So when you talk about this particular slide is talking about when you talk about the products on Azure Active Directory can give you. For example, you want to do B2B collaboration. When I mean B2B, I mean business to business. For example, I have a company, nonso.com. Paul has a company, paul.com. Okay, for example, and I want a situation whereby I want Paul to access some of my resources. So I can do what we call B2B, which is business to business. I can invite Paul, some users of Paul into my tenant for them to do the authentication. That's basically business to business. Okay, you can see provision and the provision of apps. You can provision and the provision apps. Okay, you can check your AD Connect health. Hopefully I'll be able to show you guys what an example of what AD Connect is and what the things it can do. You can also do conditional access. Conditional access is a fantastic product. Okay, that's part of is a premium product, but I'll use this to explain what it is. So I think the best way to limit is I believe we all know what a flow diagram is, right? We all know what a flow diagram is. Okay, so if something happens, the other A should happen, or if something fails, the other event should take place. Basically, like logic apps. So conditional access is a product in Azure Active Directory that what it can do basically is it can help you to put some point of restriction. You can decide like this, okay, I notice I'm being hacked from China. I don't want any user coming from China to log on to my tenant. You can do that with conditional access. You can say, oh, okay, I noticed that I don't want a situation whereby if somebody is connecting from outside of my office IP address, I want that person to be authenticated. I want that person to get MFA, right? You can set all those ones. Azure AD joined. Do you want to register devices? Azure B2C, I believe I've explained this. Group-based licensing. Look, group-based licensing is something very, very fantastic under Azure Active Directory, for example. Let's say you want a situation whereby a user, for example, okay, if this user is a manager and above, I want you to have a particular license. Is it privileged identity? Privileged identity is another fantastic product. I'll tell you why. Why is that? Complete identity is a situation whereby, let's say, for example, you have let me use John for example. Let me use Johnson for example. Johnson is an admin, but I don't want a situation whereby Johnson has full access, global administrator, to do anything anytime you want. So I want a situation whereby anytime Johnson wants to log in, I want to know, and I want it to be during a particular number of hours. And implement what we call privileged identity management, in the sense that when they Johnson will only have the access when he needs it, and when at that time he needs it, I'll have to approve whether he should use the access or not. So this is basically some of the use cases. I try to do something as possible. Okay. The example, I want to provide my employees access to every app from any location, any device. These are the products I can give you this. So you can add, you can do access. You can there's a URL called my apps one. Let's say you want to publish an application. For example, let's say your organization, you want to section by the HR app that handles leave management. I want them to be able to access it. You can use Azure Active Directory, register the application, and Azure Active Directory will handle the authentication, that is the IDP, and the rest. And you can publish the application basically on my apps portal. Because you want them to remote access to your on-premise applications. That's basically you can publish the app using Azure Application Proxy. Do you want to sync their profiles? That is what Azure AD Connect does. Do you want to, okay, for example, let's say you want an example like you want, oh, I'm used to Azure ADDS. I'm used to ADDS, right? What I mean, I'm used to domain services. For example, I want to implement group policy. I want to implement group policy, for example. Hello, Suleiman.
Good evening.
Good
Sorry,
evening.
can you slow down a little bit? I see you are too fast.
I'm too fast. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. All right. I'll slow down. I'll slow down.
All
okay.
right.
So I want to talk about this product, for example. There's Azure ADDS. Remember when I began, I was talking about Active Directory on premise, how Active Directory on premise uses Kerberos and ATLM, all right, and group policy and all that. Because one of the difference between Azure Active Directory and Active Directory like we know it before is that, for example, Active Directory, I mentioned that it uses legacy authentication protocols, that is the Kerberos, the ATLM, and also Active Directory on premise. Sorry, hold on. It uses group policy. All right, group policy. You can do group policy to manage users. Sorry, hold on. Active Directory uses group policy. You can use group policy to manage users, for example. So, but Azure Active Directory doesn't do that. But Microsoft is so thoughtful, for example, is so thoughtful. So they decide, okay, what if when I come to the cloud and I still want to make use of some of those features I used to use on premise? That's why they implemented what called Azure ADDS, which is basically Azure Active Directory Domain Services. So those features you have on premise, your group policy, the NTLM, the Kerberos authentication protocols, you can actually implement that on Azure. That's basically what this is telling us. That's basically what this product is. Amos, is it clear?
Yes, I can hear you. It's clear.
Okay, it's clear. Okay, so this is another scenario. So this scenario is saying, I want my customers and partners to access the application, the apps they need. I mentioned B2B collaboration, for example. Like B2B collaboration is, remember what I said about B2B? You can invite a user to come to your tenant, and use your application. B2B collaboration, you can do Azure B2C. Azure B2C is the situation whereby it's business to customers, basically. That is when you decide, okay, I don't want to use Azure Active Directory. I want a situation whereby if my users are developers and they have GitHub accounts, I want them to be able to sign on to my application. If my users are just school users that have Facebook accounts, I want them to log in with their Facebook identity. So if my users are LinkedIn professionals that have LinkedIn accounts, I want them to log in with a LinkedIn account. That's basically what Azure AD B2C does for you. So this is actually say I want to automate user identity lifecycle and cut down on help desk costs. This is about management now, for example. Before when I started my career in the bank, for example, one of the things, the first unit I was what's called we call it IT care. IT care was actually the first level support. One of the issues we have every day, every Monday, for example, when people resume from leave, they call for password reset. Just the Monday social whereby if we then had this, you can do a situation whereby a user can actually reset their password on their own. One of the another difficult thing to do is really in a large organization is dynamic groups. For example, a situation whereby if a user let me explain what dynamic groups is basically. We all know what groups are, right? Groups, in example, okay, you said all managers should be in the same group. All let me use the word we use in the bank. Okay, the bank does basically on grade. If you're an entry level, you should be in a particular group. If you are an assistant banking officer, you should be in a particular group. If you are an SB or senior banking officer, you should be in a particular group. If you're a manager, you should be in a particular group. If you're a senior manager, you should be in a particular group. So one of the problem we have is this. Let's say someone gets promoted, right? Someone gets promoted from banking manager, from a banking officer to an assistant manager. That person profile will change. So that means someone has to manually come and remove the person from banking officer and update that person. But with dynamic groups, it can change automatically. You can you can modify it in the sense that once some attribute changes, the person should automatically, its person should move to a particular group. Automatically, this is this is automatic. And in terms of password reset, you can do self-service password reset in the sense that the person actually gets to reset their passwords, gets to update their profile on their own. Okay, you can do Azure AD join. Azure AD join is something fantastic. In the sense that you want to register a particular device to your tenant. Okay, you want to do group-based licensing. Let's say, for example, some of us have worked in an organization whereby you say, okay, if you are this particular grade, you should have this particular license. You have Power BI, for example. So you can implement group-based licensing with dynamic groups. You kick it together and say, okay, from a particular grade and above, let's say from assistant manager and above, you should make use of you should be in this particular group and have this particular licensing. So what is this guy telling us? This is the beauty of Azure Active Directory, that this thing used to be done by help decks. I remember in help decks now we have around 12 million. Our monthly salary then was going up to I think around 6 to 7 million. That of all the 12 people we have somebody that collects as much as 800 to 900,000 a month on that. But just imagine whereby some of those things can be automated with Azure Active Directory. So you actually get those people doing more doing more critical, what is critical to the business, than just doing simple help desk tasks. Okay, so the default scenario is that you want to protect your access to your resources from threats. So you have Azure Identity Protection. Azure Identity Protection is something very fantastic. I'll give an example. Identity Protection is basically handled by AI. Let's say, for example, now suddenly I'm logging in from Nigeria and automatically my ISM account, so logging in from mainland Nigeria is logging in from somewhere in China. It's not possible. It's an impossible travel. So for that means I'm being hacked. Automatic identity protection will flag it as a risk and block that account or demand for demand for an MFA. I've explained what PIM is. You want to show about you want to grant people access for a particular period and you want to be able to approve it. Security reporting, you want to be able to, with Azure Active Directory being the source of your IDP for all of your applications, I can actually see what is happening. It basically, for people that have walked into audit, you can go you have a situation whereby, let's say there's a hack or something happened. They want to say, okay, who logged into this application? Okay, they're now looking at different logs. But with Azure Active Directory, you have like a centralized place where you can have all the logs, all the sign-ins, all the changes, all of them will be documented in Azure Active Directory. Audit logs can do that for you. Then conditional access, I believe I've explained what conditional access is. You basically can do restrictions. You can decide, okay, I want this application. If you're connecting from outside my office, I want you to, outside the office, this particular IP address, I want you to be protected for MFA. I can decide, okay, if this user tries to connect, this user is not permitted to connect to this app, or this particular user, I don't want this user to be protected for MFA. So you can do a lot of granular security stuff with Azure Active Directory. So Microsoft Authenticator passwordless app access. For example, this is Microsoft Authenticator is actually an app that Microsoft created for two-factor authentication. So you can decide, okay, I don't want to log on with my username and password. I want a situation whereby anytime I enter my username to log on, for example, to Azure, for example, I want to create I want my authenticator app to be the one to log me in. What does that mean? It basically means that someone cannot hack you. There's a person has your phone. The person trying to log in with your ID in anywhere around the world, you have to be prompted on your phone to allow that application to allow that access. You can enable MFA. I believe we all know what MFA is. Okay, this is basically drilling more deep into what we have. Okay, this this is one of the fantastic things I need to talk about. Okay, hybrid made easy. One of the fantastic features of Azure Active Directory. We all know, for example, in Nigeria, for example, is that people like the cloud, but they're actually slow to change. Right, I've trained so many people. The last time I was in, last week, I was training some CBN staff. One of the issues we have is that they are slow to change. They don't want to move. People will like the things the way they are. They're hearing fantastic about the cloud but they are hesitant to move. So one of the things about Azure Active Directory is that you can tell them, okay, you can actually still have your on-premise. You can still have your Active Directory on-premise, but you can actually enjoy some of the features in Azure. So, for example, you want them to have a ability to do single sign-on, to do self-service password reset, to do MFA, for example. You can say, okay, come on, just install an AD Connect, sync your premises, sync your profile to Azure. You can say, okay, you don't have with AD Connect. You can say, okay, you don't necessarily have to sync your own organization. You can just sync a particular OU. It's very fantastic. Azure Active Directory can do that for you. So this is basically talking about the different authentication protocols in authentication options in Azure Active Directory that AD Connect gives you. I'll give you an example now. This might be in case of security. For some of us that have done 103, some of us that are planning to do 301 and all that, 300, for example. This is some of the questions you will see. For example, there are some people can be in the cloud, right? They're in Azure, but they want to institution whereby anytime your authentication happen, I don't want Azure to be the source of authentication of authority. I want authentication to happen to my on-premise. Azure has a product for you that's called Azure AD Connect can do that for you. You can set what is called pass-through authentication. From this diagram, what you can see there, this is a user, Paul, for example. Paul is trying to log in to use a resource, right? Sorry, I need to go back. Sorry, please hold on. So I'm trying to explain pass-through. Paul is here now. Paul is trying to log on to his resource in Azure. But what happens with pass-through authentication, the resource actually happens to his on-premise. So once Paul hits Azure Active Directory, he'll be directed to what we call a pass-through agent to his Active Directory. What's the downfall in this? That means at every time his on-premise has to be up. If his on-premise goes down, nobody can log in. So that means basically your Active Directory on-premise needs to be available 24/7. If there is latency between your on-premise and Azure, you have slowly you to be slow for it to log in. Why is it? Because the IDP, the authentication is actually happening on-premise, not in Azure. Password hash. Password hash is one of the is another authentication option. In this case, what happens is that your password is synced as hashed from your on-premise to Azure. So if a user wants to log in, let's say for example, let's say the user is logging off from home. Unlike pass-through, the person doesn't need to come to your on-premise. It doesn't need to come to your on-premise. You just like Azure Active Directory will act as the IDP, basically log the user in because the password has been synced to Azure. If the user is in the office, so he doesn't need to go to the internet to log in. The authentication will happen in Windows Server Active Directory. It doesn't need to go to Azure. Federation through via ADFS. In case of ADFS is similar to what we have with pass-through, but in the sense that in this case, the authentication actually happens in your on-premise. But in ADFS Federation via ADFS, you will need to install what we call you set up a Windows server, for example, and you install what we call ADFS, Active Directory Federation Services. So this is basically talking about the hybrid authentication options. I believe we talked about this. So in that, which one do you want to use? Do you want to use password hash synchronization? Do you want to use federation through ADFS? Do you want to use pass-through? So any of that is totally possible in Azure Active Directory. So I can tell you one of the fantastic actually like about this. For example, before Microsoft used to be rigid. But one thing they have done is with this, they are actually becoming much more flexible. They're actually understanding like, okay, I'm not going to pin you to use a particular product. I'm not going to pin you to use a particular system. Whatever security requirements you have, you want a situation whereby, oh, I don't want my sync to happen to the cloud. For example, when I was talking with CBN, they have their they have their they have Azure. They have already synced to the cloud. But one of the features of Azure that they didn't want to use is what we call password write back. Password write back is a fantastic feature for me, but for them, it's not a fantastic feature. I'll give you an example. Password write back is a situation whereby someone goes home, your password expires, you change your password at home, the password is synced back to your on-premise. But CBN said no. We are CBN. We don't want that. It's a security flaw. Microsoft doesn't force you to do that. So any part of any of your security requirements, anything you want to do, it's possible for you to do it through Azure Active Directory. Any of these 3 authentication options is basically covers everything you want to do in terms of security. Are you like a startup that likes seamless? I'll say go for pass through. Are you the old ones that you want? Oh, I want ADFS. I want to have applications I'm publishing. All right, yeah, you have ADFS on premise, no problem. Bring your ADFS to the cloud. We can do that for you. So basically, we have over more than but the active ones. We have active ones. This is more now. So 334,000 applications running on Azure. Azure Active Directory Domain Services. I believe I've explained this before. Okay, I explained it when I explained. I talked about the legacy authentication protocol, the KERBROS, the NTLM, the LDAP, the group policy. Some of those features that you have on premise that you enjoy so much, and I decided, I want to migrate to the cloud. But this application is so old. Even if I migrate the VM, we work with LDAP. We can't work with Azure Active Directory. No, I'm saying, don't worry, just come. You can use Azure Active Directory Domain Services. It's basically a managed service for your domain controllers. You can make use of it in Azure. So this basically, we are doing now one of the use cases. Let me go this. So I want to customers to access the need. I think I mentioned B2C and B2B, right? B2C, okay, what was speaking about? B2C is like, these are just users. I don't even know what they're not in any organization. Make use of B2C. B2B is an organization. Paul's company is trying to collaborate with Johnson's company. So for the collaboration to happen, okay, I will use Azure B2B. Basically, you can invite them. So you can just simply set up. I'll do an example of a B2B later. Okay, this is basically the outflow for B2B. Basically, you need to have a Microsoft account. You can also invite your Google and your Outlook accounts to be guest users on the B2B also. B2C is, I think I've explained this also, but like I said, your social IDs, you want to log in with your Twitter account, you want to log in with your Facebook, you're creating an application, for example. For some of us that are developers, I remember the first when I started developing, that was my JS3, for example. When I started doing PHP, for example, one of the first things you do, for example, we did then was okay to design an application. You design an application. The first thing you learn, okay, build a login, being a login and a logout, right? Create a sign up. So about this, you can develop an application. They're saying that you don't have to worry about that. You can just come and make use of Azure B2C. Then Azure B2C, you just set up the identity provider. I might have users that are logging on with Amazon. Don't worry, come on. Yeah, I might have users that have Microsoft account. Yeah, no problem. Come on. I want my users to log in with Gmail. Come on, you just automatically set up the social IDs, and you don't have to worry about it. For example, let's say CBN now. For example, one of the products are pushing for CBN. CBN is trying to push an application for the unbanked. Unbanked, that means anywhere people are that don't have banking application. And I'm telling them, so just you can actually use Azure B2C. Azure B2C will make it in such a way that it doesn't really matter. Do they have LinkedIn accounts? Do they have Facebook accounts? Do they have which account again? Do I have Twitter accounts? We have majority of Nigerians on Twitter and Facebook and the rest. You can say, okay, if you have these accounts, you don't need to come and sign up. Just come and use that same identity using Facebook and IDP and Azure B2C. You can make use of Azure B2C. Azure B2C will handle the authentication for you. Okay, this is basically talking about one of the features of Azure Identity, frictionless. Everything is smooth, everything soft. The self-service password, profile management, and password reset is something I can tell you that is actually one of the things that is actually very good. If you have worked in help decks before, you can know that can be tiring. For example, you can have, I used to tell you, UBA is almost 16,000. So one of the features we have, for example, so somebody to come back from leave, they'll have to do for a password reset. Let me give you the lowdown now. For them to do a password reset, their Oga, the supervisor that, for example, has to approve. So that person will now go and another person will now go and log a ticket, attach the email of approval of the Oga. If without the approval, the password reset will not happen. Imagine if we have this, the user doesn't have to go through all this process. They can basically do their password reset themselves. So if you look at here, for example, this is an example of an application making use of B2C. You can say, do you want to sign in with your Facebook? Do you want to sign in with Google? Do you want to sign in with Twitter? Do you want to sign in with an email, registered email that you have already? So variety of experience, variety of features when it comes to Azure Active Directory. So guys, I'm rushing because I need to do the labs. I believe this should last like an hour and 30 minutes, right?
This one now.
I think so.
Yeah, this one now. Okay, no problem. Okay, so these are talking about more features. For example, I'll give you an example now. Best for me to explain this is when you is explaining through the experiences I've had before. For example, let's say someone is going on leave, right? Someone going on leave. What happens in UBA, for example, the process is that someone goes on leave, someone comes, when they logs the leave request, my job then is to, when I'm on night, is to download, right? Download from HR portal. When I download from HR portal, oh, the person is going on leave. Because he's going on leave, he shouldn't have access to his mails. So I will disable his mail. But if you integrate the application with Azure Active Directory and have that feature, for example, once that person goes on leave, like automatically Azure Active Directory will disable this user. It's possible you can do it. You can integrate it. So if somebody is leaving, one of the job roles I do then, somebody leaves the bank, I have to delete that. If somebody leaves 12 a.m., right? I have to delete that person before 1 a.m. because you don't want the security to have access to your mail and send a particular mail or cause confusion. So one of the things with Azure Active Directory, some of those manual work that we used to do then can actually be removed. Access reviews is a fantastic feature whereby you say, okay, before this person has access to this, I want to be able to grant that person permission. Does that person is trying to access this resource? Do they have access to it? Should they have access to it? Okay, this talk about the applications, for example, the application decided to publish. Your tenants, for example, for some of us, if you go to my apps.microsoft.com, you see applications that publish for your tenants from your organization. For example, you can see WordPress, you can see Workday, you can see ServiceNow, depending on your tenant. But you can see Slack. For example, you can look at Slack now. Slack, for example, now is is actually in competition with Teams. What Microsoft is saying, if you can actually use Slack and Azure as IDP. You can do all that. You can publish this application. That's the beauty of Azure Active Directory. That's the beauty of what Microsoft is doing right now. Self-service password reset, I believe I explained this. See, one of the fantastic features, resolving password issues for users is one of the, yes, it is. I've explained to you, our salary every month is up to 8 million. And have a bunch of 12 users do something that can be redundant. Azure Active Azure Identity join for Windows 10 devices. I'll explain this the best way I can. Okay, so look at this, for example. How many of us know what SSO is, right? SSO. Okay. SSO means single sign-on. So Microsoft is saying that, okay, you want a situation whereby I'm issuing all my users a laptop, right? When they join you, for example, when they join become like Microsoft, they'll give you a fantastic laptop and all that, right? Surface laptop. So they want a situation whereby with that laptop is enterprise compliant in the sense that it has all the security features of what we want the laptop to be. When I joined Tech, they gave me a laptop that is Azure AD join. That means Tech remotely can wipe this system. They can decide, okay, this system cannot open cannot open YouTube. This system cannot do B. That is what Azure Active Join for Windows 10 does for you. So basically, this feature is a particular. You can even enable MFA for some particular product. Because okay, they can decide, okay, if you are connecting with this application, with this particular laptop, you don't need to report it for MFA because this particular laptop is like is a trusted device for us. It's a trusted. We know this device. You're connecting for this device. That means you're trusted. So it doesn't. If you and because you use it to public, and decide, okay, this is a particular application that we publish online, right, for our employees to work. If you want to use this application, you have to log in only from a device that is Azure AD joined. That means if that device is Azure AD joined, that means we know this device. We have certified that this device meets our security, right? Our internal security things that we set on for our devices. So that means this device cannot be compromised. It means that this device remotely we can monitor what is happening in the device. Remotely we can delete it. So basically, this is one of the features provide seamless access. I think I've been talking about SSO and all that. Like to facilitate collaboration. Let's say company A can talk to company B to do Azure B2B effectively, unlock IT efficiencies. You don't have to have your IT guys doing archaic work, doing old work. Imagine somebody collecting 800,000. Basically, what he's doing password reset. That's very horrible. Yeah, is actually bad business. So you actually have your IT guy doing what I call because have effective work. For example, just imagine now before if a user is then it takes me about the first time I did user sign in and all that in PHP, it took me almost 3 days. At the time I had it banked as an let's say a security vulnerability on my code. I don't even know. But with Azure B2C, you are saying that you are using an updated resource that has the latest updates on this. So as a developer, I don't have to be stuck on worrying about logging, right? Login, designing, sign up, password reset, URL. I'll focus on how can I make this very, very effective? How can I make this application very, very effective? You understand? So basically, I think I will move to the labs now. This guy just basically the rest of my slides here is basically reinforcing what I've already explained to you guys before. So you want to protect access to your resources from threats, cloud intelligence, dynamic protection, machine learning. Azure Identity Protection can handle all that for you. I think I've explained that very deep also. Conditions. I've mentioned a fantastic features of Azure Conditional Access and Azure Identity Protection. Impossible login, for example, impossible travel, or impossible travel. Suddenly somebody, me and Johnson is in Nigeria now. Johnson logs in Nigeria. 1 minute, next minute, Johnson is logging on from China. Is he trying to combat coronavirus? No. What is that? That's impossible login. Specific conditions. So you have machine learning at the background doing real-time evaluation for you, looking at the security policies you have on premise. I mentioned conditional access in the sense that you can say, okay, if my user is coming from this particular place or prompting for MFA, that's the best way to explain this. Okay, this user is coming from this particular set of the world. Okay, let's say I have a company that is in Nigeria and in let me use where's the country that is known for hacks, for example, Russia, for example. Oh, I want to switch and buy that all my users in Russia, wherever they are, anything happening in Russia, please, they must log in with an AD join device. I don't care. For those users, I don't care. They can't come with their own devices. They have to log in with the devices I give them. Okay, let's say your Nigerian guys are known for scamming, for example. I would say, oh, for my Nigerian guys, I always want the two-factor authentication. Yes, I need to be sure who is logging in. I need to be sure because of what they are known for. So you can actually set granular access on Azure Active Directory, and none of them will work for you. So this is basically identity protection. You can do it for on-premise app. Okay, see, this is a bit of Azure Active Directory. Remember when I said, okay, if this user is coming from this particular location, require MFA. If somebody suddenly Johnson logs in or Paul logs in Nigeria, then just the same Paul is logging in within the next 10 minutes in China. There is no magic that the same John is in China, and that same John in China is in the same John in Nigeria. So what am I going to do in this particular scenario? Okay, I want him to be protected for MFA. Let him be protected for MFA. I want it to I want Paul to be protected for MFA. And okay, and it's okay. When I'm protected for MFA, why must I use Microsoft Azure AD MFA? No. You can use RSA, you can use Dual Mobile, you can use Trosona. So Microsoft is not just saying, you have to use our product, it has to be our product. They're saying you can actually leverage other products that we have, definitely. So we're not saying it's a must that you must have to use our product. Oh, cloud app discovery, identity protection. I believe I've talked about this a lot. Privileged identity, I believe I've talked about this also, whereby you actually telling the user, this particular user, oh, Johnson is a global admin. I don't want Johnson to be doing changes from his house. I don't want him to wake up in the middle of the night and decide, oh, I want to change. I want to reset all users. I want to change this. I want Johnson to only be able to do these changes when I'm aware. I have to be aware, and he has to do it between, say, 1 to 10 or 8 to 6. So I enable PIM on Johnson. Johnson, you can only be global admin only for this region. I don't understand. So that means, let's say if somebody hacks Johnson account, Johnson is the IT admin. Johnson is the IT admin for Paul, and Paul is a big company. So if I hack Johnson, if I hack Johnson IT here for nights when Johnson is sleeping, I can actually make use of his profile to do a lot of research, do a lot of changes. Unfortunately, in the night when Johnson is sleeping, if you hack Johnson and try to use Johnson's profile will be just like a normal user. You won't be able to do much. So that's one of the advantages of PIM. Access reviews. This is basically, okay, it's basically what you have, how many of us are work with SharePoint, for example, now. You want to speak about to grant somebody access to a particular resource. Oh, okay. No, you're not allowed to this particular resource. I have to approve you first. I remember when I mentioned one of the authentication protocols as part of Azure Active Directory. Look at Azure Directory. You can make use of all this. You can use OAuth. You can use AD Connect. You can use SAML. You can make use of Microsoft Graph. Microsoft Graph can help you handle how do you call it again? API testing. API tests, for example. API calls. You can make API calls through Microsoft Graph. So this basically explains the things you can do with Microsoft Graphs. So you can use Microsoft Graph to test Microsoft endpoints. For example, there are some of the features you have in Azure Active Directory, a situation whereby you have a third-party application. You want to be able to pull sign-in logs. Let's say you have a Senetal application, for example, and you want that Senetal application to pull the audit logs from Azure Active Directory. So you can make use of the endpoint in and through Graph Explorer. You can pull the audit logs. I believe this is this example of a GET request by Graph trying to get to a user and the job type. So for some of us that developers, for example. So basically, what this particular app is saying is, I'm a developer, right? I want this session to pull some objects. How can I do that in Azure Active Directory? Is it restricted? Yeah, it's not restricted. You can actually do that. Once you have the right permissions, you can be able to do it through Microsoft Graph. Microsoft Graph can be able to help you to do that. For example, you can see this is getting a GET request to a user. What is requesting is give us a feedback of the user's property in terms of in JSON format. In that way, you can use it to do. In that way, you can put this one to your application and you basically use it to do a lot of things. Maybe we want a situation whereby, okay, query user, if user is a particular user, I want you to publish it in social place or fields or push it to a particular database. You can all do that in Azure Active Directory. So this is talking more about Graph, the things you can do with Graph and all that. So for Azure, I think one of the last thing I need to talk about Azure Active Directory before I move to the lab is Azure Active Directory basically can work for everything. So for example, I've talked a lot about how they can do for help desk guys. You can review the attacks of what they do. understand? You don't have to be, people don't have to be calling you every time for password reset. Okay, for security guys, you can help them be more granular. You can be okay, with Azure Active Directory, I can have a sign in, I have a place whereby I can see the login of all logins that happen, all the changes that happen in my tenant. For example, you can see the sign-ins. Okay, also with Azure Active Directory, you can have a station whereby you can decide to have in security aspects, and you can decide, okay, I want to see, I want to be able to be more granular. I want to be able to wipe my devices. I want to decide, okay, with we feature MDN in tune. I can say, okay, I want to be able to manage the devices my colleagues are using to log in, where they can log in, if they travel, if possible travels, all those things that happen. You can be able to do that with PIM, for example, which is also part of security. You can be able to do that as a developer. You can say, okay, I'm building this application. It's not just people that are in banks, it's not just for corporate people. You have people that are not in banks, people that are outside there. I want them to be able to sign in. You can all do that. That's your Active Directory. Okay. Before I move forward, I'd like to take some questions. Since I've been talking for a while, please, if you have questions, shoot.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should continue. Anyone that have questions should put it in the chat box so that we won't take too much of time.
Okay.
Okay, so after the presentation, we can go back to the chat, pick questions and answer so that we could quickly get over. Yeah.
All right. So I'm trying to log in and show you guys what it looks like. Oh, sorry. Internet is irritating. Oh, sorry. Let me just. Okay, this is my tech account. Not this. Okay, let me use this user. Okay, this particular tenant that is logging on now is basically my B2C tenant. I want to switch it to my normal tenant. Show you guys. So where is it? Okay, where is that? Azure Active Directory. Let me just open this. Okay, one of the few things I have to do first, I want to show you guys the users, right? So one of the things I was asking Paul, I don't know how the labs will be like. Okay, for example, these are all the users I have in my tenant, for example. Let me say you want to do a password reset for, let me say, Ali, for example. I just have to click on Ali. and do a reset password for Ali, for example. Can do a reset password for Ali. Ali will have a temporary password. When you try to log in, he'll be prompted for this password. For example, if I should log in for, let me use a private window. Let me put out Azure for example. Okay. Paste, signing. You can see I enable MFA for this guy, for this Ali, for example. I can't remember. What can I say here? So this is basically SSPR. So I'm saying, okay, I want to be called. I want to be called whenever this happens. I'll use a text message because I'm using my phone as this. So you can see, for example, so if someone is trying to hack now, someone is trying to hack Ali, for example, and trigger a password reset, but the person cannot do much because here MFA will be prompted for Ali, for example, to even be able to do anything on his tenant. So I'm changing this. I'm entering the code that I just dropped. 89. Verify. Guess I had with a password. I don't have time. This just go move ahead first. You can see is by only then can I be proper for doing a password change. Then sign in. You can now sign out with the need your number. Sign out. So I want to do another test. Let me say, I want to create a new user. Or before I create a new user, let me invite a new user. Let's say I want to invite somebody that has my Gmail account. I was saying, okay. No, so Gmail, example. So no, so Gmail is not in my tenant. So Gmail is a different tenant. I can say, okay, no, so that's so dot udechuku at gmail.com. What the first name do I want it to be called in this? And so Gmail testing Azure B2B. You can send the invite. The invite have been set now. If you search for nonso, for example, now, can you see nonso Gmail? You can see it. All I'm saying guest user. I'm a guest in this account. If I open it, for example, now, you can see a situation by it's saying my source as an invited user, right? Let me go to my Gmail account and verify this. I will bring on the screen after. Just hold on 1 minute. You can see it's telling me you have been invited in this organization by Nonso Dechuku testing Azure B2B. So you can click on this to redeem the invitation. So see me to sign in. What's going to happen now? If I enter my username, my password, it's saying, okay, this organization uses would like to sign you in, view your name, email address, and photo. You can see the permissions is asking me. If this is a new user, for example, one of the things it's going to do is going to ask the user to create a password.
That's one of the things it's going to do for the first time. So here it's directing me to, I don't have any applications published, for example. If I can go decide, okay, can see what it took me to my apps panel. If I decide, okay, I want the situation to be able to see some applications, one of the things you can do is, where is it, sir? Sorry, hold on, please. Where are you? So I should go back now, for example, users. So, okay, you see now, that moved from the invited user to what Microsoft account now. I'm still a guest, but the source now is now Microsoft account. I want to show you guys what other things you can do. I can decide, okay, I want to assign applications. Let me go to enterprise applications, for example. Let's say I want also to be able to access, let me use Power BI service, for example. I say users. To show you where you can be more granular. So one of the things you can do, select users and select users. So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to assign also access to be able to log into Power BI. You don't have to have the license. So I'm just granting the permission now. If I select this and click on assign, that means the owner have access. If it also comes to this place now and do a refresh, it takes a while sometimes. It takes a while. It takes a while for you to refresh. That's the truth. It's a while for you to refresh. Well, this is basically how you can assign. So you can say, okay, I have some applications. I have Power BI, but I only want people in a particular group. People in a particular group. You can come here and say, when it comes to add user, I can add users and group. You can see I have other group. I have groups here. I can decide to choose, okay, DNS admins. I can decide to, okay, the people that update my DNS. I think as a group I have here. Sorry, I don't think. Oh, I've deleted it. Okay, this is a dynamic group. Yes, I can say, okay, this for the dynamic groups. Basically, remember when I talk about dynamic groups? Here you have a group that have a particular features. People like the members of that group are people that meet a particular attribute. For example, they are managers, only people that have EMS 5 license should be in this group. Only people that have EMS 3 license should be on this group. So can I say, okay, okay, this application should be assigned to only people in this group. So you can basically select it and assign it. So all the users in this group will have access to this application. Let me check whether the refresh is done. Sometimes it's still taking a while. Sometimes this takes up to 24 hours. People wish to rate tickets about this. They'll tell you that there's an application that you have to get it. Sometimes it takes 72 hours. Sometimes you have to raise an ICM, or to call it an ICM. That is liaising with product group to be able to do this. I want to show you guys an example of conditional access. I talk a lot about this. Where is it? Conditional access. Yeah, they moved it from Azure AD. Let me bring it up here. So one of the things you have to one of the things you have to know in Azure is things are always changing. For example, what I mean by things are always changing. Today, you can be using, for example, I remember the first time this happened to me, right? I was working with a client. I was telling the client, okay, no worry, this thing you want to do, you can actually use that conditional access to do it. And I'm not like, okay, just go to your Azure Active Directory, search a conditional access. I was like, what happened to conditional access? Automatically, I can't see it on the customer Azure Active Directory again. They have moved it to the main. So one of the things you have to be open to the cloud. As you're working in the cloud, to be always be know that things can always change. Things are not always where they are. It's that things can change. Improvements are happening all the time. So I want to show you an example of conditional access policy, for example. Okay, this is what we call the baseline policy. What is baseline policy? Baseline policy is saying that Microsoft designs this policy for you. You can see this example. Baseline policy here is they require MFA for admins. That means if you're a global administrator in this tenant, you should be protected for MFA before you log in. You can see I turned this off. It's still in preview. I turned it off on my tenant. Baseline for the end user protection. Is this user protected? Do you want to enable it or not? Block legacy authentication. Legacy authentication is this. I remember when I mentioned Kerberos and ATLM. So because those Kerberos and ATLM are so prone for spray attacks, Microsoft is actually advising clients not to use it. So we have a policy here that build Microsoft is saying automatically I want you to block legacy authentication. So I want to do a test. Let me use what we call what if. What if basically when you run a test, I can say for a user, let me use user Ali for example. Ali, yeah, this is Ali, select Ali, any cloud app. So any cloud app means any cloud, it could be SharePoint, it could be Outlook, it could be Teams, right? Any cloud app, okay? This IP address, that is, they don't want to restrict. They want to say, okay, if you're coming from this IP address, don't be protected for MFA. They don't want to do it for country. Remember when I was mentioning, you can say Afghanistan. I don't have any user in Afghanistan. Please don't log them in. I don't have any user in Angola. Don't log them in. If it's coming from Cayman Island, Nahak, I don't want log them. Okay, device and platform. Remember when I mentioned about devices? Okay, if the user is logging in from Android device, permit the person. Oh, I noticed that recently all my users are being, all the hacks coming on my organization is coming from iOS. Please block it. You can decide to restrict up to devices. You can say, okay, client app review. Is the person logging on from a browser? You get. Is the person logging on from a browser? Is it a mobile? Is it mobile apps and desktop clients? So you can be more granular on what you want to do. You can say this thing under preview. I'll give you one thing about previews. Anything under preview in Azure is saying that the experience will be different. For example, I can try it on my tenant, it works. Johnson or Paul can try it on the tenant, it will not work. For example, so whenever we have this say, so if you're telling the customer to use something that's still under preview, take in mind that this might not presently work for the customer. Device states. Is this hybrid AD joined? Is device marker compliant? When device marker compliant is when you use Intune. Intune as MDM, your mobile device management. The one Microsoft was offering is Intune or still under Azure Active Directory. You can say, okay, this particular device that was issued that this guy is trying to log in, is it marked as compliant by us? Does this device meet all their criteria? That's basically what it's saying. Does it meet all our criteria? If it meets all our criteria, okay, mark, that means allow this device to log in. You can do a sign-in risk. That is basically evaluating based on what we call based on identity protection. Remember when I told you guys identity protection, you use what we call machine learning to check users' behavior. For example, when I mentioned about impossible travel, right? Impossible travel, suddenly so that is in Nigeria is logging in from USA. Logging from Nigeria in 1 minute, next minute you're logging from USA. So it will flag the risk as high or medium. If the risk is high or really high, block this person, right? So I want to do this test, discard all this. I want to do a simple new policy and assign it to none. So device testing policy. Users, let me just use users. No, this can be tricky. So just select user and group. This. You can even select by directory roles. Directory roles in the sense that if this user is a guest user, is an external. Directory roles in the sense, in the sense that if this user is a global admin, if the user administrator, you can do that. User and groups. I mean, I want to be more granular. I want to select a particular user. Let me select Ali, for example. Ali enabled select done. I'll select all cloud apps for Ali. All cloud apps. That means every application conditions. Sign-in risk not configured. Device not configured. Location not configured. I can do location. Let me do location. Yes, any location. I can see trusted location. Trusted location that, let's say you have. Remember when I mentioned that you can decide, okay, if no is logging on from his inside the office and from the user for MFA, don't evaluate conditional access. You can do that. I can do done. Let me just use done. Any location. I don't want to be client applications. I can do yes. So it doesn't matter what he's using. Is he using a browser? He's using mobile apps. He's using modern authentication clients. It doesn't matter. Just device state. I'm not evaluating device state done. Done. Grant control. Right. So this grant is okay. If the users meet A and B, grant user, I want to require conditional multi-factor authentication, right? I can say, okay, require to be marked as compliant because my device I want to log in is not in tune. So if I click on this, I'll actually be blocked. Let me use this. Require hybrid AD joined. I don't want to do this because my device is not hybrid joined. Done. Let me see. I'm turning it off automatically. So I'm creating it, for example. So let me try to log on with user Ali once more. In private window, use portal.office, for example, portal.office.com. Can see automatically because I enable MFA, right? I'm receiving a text now. Someone telling me, okay, because I have enabled MFA for Ali, for example, if I disable MFA, let me just enter the code, for example, or the code and sign on, for example. Verify, signing me in automatically for that. Sign me to the office portal. MCTN is becoming too slow these days. Okay, because you assign me to the office portal, for example. So I'm going to test and do another test. I want to confirm adding enable MFA for Ali, Azure Active Directory users. Ali, no, I want to do something, sorry. Just hold on, please. I want to run a check. Trying to show you guys what condition access can do. I should have done this before that. Ali first. I want to disable Ali. Sorry. Done. Let me try to log in again. Office. Oh, sorry. This will not work. I need to in the community browser. My device is AD joined to another user. So we're kicking. You can see. Remember when I came here and I disabled it, right? So you can see its conditional access policy is being triggered here. I want to enter the code and I will show you guys how you can confirm that it's being evaluated. For example, 931.85. I'm being logged on. I want to do the final test. I want to disable the conditional access policy. Yes, where are you? This is the policy we just enabled. Want to turn it off, save. So I want to run a final test. No, not you. Ali at says it's okay. Sorry. Can see MFA is not triggered. It's allowing me to log in because I've disabled the conditional access policy. So conditional access policy can actually get very granular, for example. So I want to show you guys another thing. What is that? Okay, so I think I mentioned password reset before. Okay, I think I'll stop here now. It's already past 8. So if you can you just throw your questions, please. Stop sharing my screen now. Hello guys, questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ness, Mr. Nonso. Okay, so if any of us have a question, and it's a very, very wonderful section. If we have anybody that has question regarding what he has presented, please, you could ask, please. We still have 5 to 10 minutes before we call it a day.
I'm sorry, guys. I know I talk very fast. Like I could be a challenge, but if you have any questions, you can just chat me up. Just throw it up. I know I talk very fast. So
Good evening, also.
My guys.
Boss,
Oga
now
Paul.
because the
Good
knowledge
evening.
plenty now, why you?
Now because knowledge plenty.
Now because
No,
the
no,
knowledge
that-
is plenty, so then they try struggle to come out. You know, then too much, so the space today to even come out small. So all of them they try rush come out. They
Don't
don't know how they
whine,
go
don't
take
whine me,
plan.
don't whine me. I know I'm a stammerer, right? I'm a stammerer, so I'm trying to run for
Boss,
the
no be
stamping.
so, no be so,
Oga-
boss.
Organo, so we missed some part of the training, so I don't know the video, the recording. So if it can be
Yeah,
dropped on this channel.
Yeah, of course it
Okay.
will be dropped. I believe
uh,
this guy recorded it. Olani,
Oga Paul,
where you
right?
dey?
Agapo, I do.
Okay, yeah. So yeah.
Hello.
So thank you
Hello.
very much. Yeah. Someone want to ask you a question?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
please.
Good evening.
Sorry.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
evening.
please. Good day. Good evening.
Thanks for the presentation. It's a nice time to be here. We employ you to give us the video and the slide, if possible, like for the previous classes that have been conducted, like yesterday and day before yesterday, if possible.
All right, no problem. I'll send the slide. I don't have any problem. I can send the slide over to. I'll drop the slide after this. Immediately after this. No problem.
Oh,
Okay,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. So the slide will be dropped on the WhatsApp group, so anyone can possibly download it
Oh, okay.
on his devices.
Okay.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Paul,
that's about that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Paul, you've not dropped your slide for us.
Yeah,
Please, we
I
also
will do
appreciate
that.
if it can be dropped here too.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, Mr.
Let's
Nonso
go.
should drop it his own. I'll be dropping
Yeah.
mine now for people that want to download it.
Dropping mine. Let me just drop mine immediately, so I will not forget.
Okay.
Where is it?
Yeah, so I want to say thank
Hello.
you to everyone. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Please, my question is my Azure portal credit has finished. That's expired. So please,
Okay.
I don't know how to renew it. And what will be the minimum amount for one to renew it if I'm to renew it? The portal.
Azure credit.
Yeah, Azure
Azure
credit.
credit.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, but that doesn't run through my team. I've not actually have a talk to do that. But what you can do, just raise a ticket. Raise a ticket. I believe someone will pick it up. I've not actually bothered about Azure credit in my life. Sorry.
Okay. So for that, I think it's simple. What you can do, we have different platforms. We have pay as you go, we have CSP and the EA. So I want to expect that you are using pay as you go. Okay, so
Yes,
if you are using pay as you go and you are not using the trial version, okay. So because the way it works, if you are using the trial subscription on Azure and it expires after 30 days, you can't have another trial version. That is one. Secondly, you can't even renew that. Okay, so you need to use a pay as you go. And how do you do a pay as you go? You need to insert your card, your debit card, or if you have a credit card, on your Azure subscription. Okay, and when you put it, you might have specified a certain amount, let's say $500 for instance, and Microsoft will charge based on what you are using. Okay, but in that instance, you will need to associate your card to the Microsoft portal. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
do we have any other question? Yeah.
No, that's all.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank
Good
you
evening,
for
sir.
the presentation. So
Welcome, sir.
actually, the time you are presenting, there is a one particular part that I'm trying to pick. So
Okay.
I need to explain the user-based something. I'm trying to pick it up, but I just need
User-based what?
I didn't really get it. So when you are
User-based. Sorry. Repeat. I didn't hear the user-based what, sir?
there's user-based something, I don't get the last word, but I just know it's a user-based.
I'm
Maybe
trying to. Okay. Is that talking about? Is that what I'm talking about? Is that what I'm talking about? Being more granular when it compares to the user. For example, let's say if this you can set your conditional access. Is that what I'm talking about? Was that talking about conditional access in that phase, or was that talking about was it talking about the user being able to do what they do what they need to do? For example, when I'm talking about password reset, or based on the when
I think about
basically it's dynamic groups. Is it when I'm talking about dynamic groups?
no. It's when you were talking about the features under the Azure AD. So you pick it part of the conditional access, the MFA, and the rest like that.
Okay. So basically, what I'm talking about is where you can be more granular. Remember the example that I did, yeah? Remember the example I showed you, for example. Let's say you have users. You have 50 users in your organization, right? Those 50 users, you were able to buy, let's say, EMS license for just 20, right? So those 20, you decided, okay, I want to be granular. Because if I'll use the word Okoko, or one Musa that is just an intern, all right? Musa as an intern doesn't have much access to my organization, so it doesn't make sense for me to assign big license to it. It's just a user. It doesn't have much access. I can decide, okay, it doesn't make sense for me to assign license to Musa. So based on that user, I can decide, okay, I can set up what we call dynamic groups, for example, and assign license based on this EMS, based on the rank of the user. So if the user is a CEO, if he's a manager, if he's an assistant manager, if he's this particular grade, okay, let him have this license. Dynamic groups will help you with that. Okay, because EMS license have all the features or security features, or for example, doing being able to do MFA. So why do I care if Musa's account gets hacked, right? If he gets hacked, he can basically be able to do much. Basically, just read Musa's email. But if the account of my CFO gets hacked, it actually worries me. So I want to enable MFA for my account. I want to enable MFA for Musa for my CFOs. So I can decide example when I'm setting up my conditional access. Okay, my CEO always complains that he doesn't understand. He will be at home, he will protect for MFA. He gets to office, he protect for MFA. Which kind of wahala be this? So I can set up a conditional access such that location for my CEO only. Once he's logging on from office, please, so he will not call me and chop off my head. Don't protect from MFA. Once this IP address is the public IP address of my office, don't protect for MFA. So that's basically being more granular when it comes to users, when it comes to groups. That's one of the things you can do.
Remember when I talked about assigning application licenses? Application, you can say, okay, only the people in data team should have access to Power BI, right? Because those are the ones using it. So it can be more granular and assess and assign the application Power BI to only people in this particular team.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So I think
I
it's
hope I answered your question.
yeah, you did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, so if we have other questions, I want us to be keeping to time. I want to appreciate first my boss. I call him my boss because I've known him for like 2 years now, and he's a wonderful boss, Organon. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us on this. I want to say thank you very much for joining us on this call, and I hope it has been an eye opener for us. Though we might not go so deep into Active Directory,
yes,
Azure AD, you understand? But these are just eye opener. What we are trying to do in these sections and subsequent sections we'll be having is just an eye opener. So if we have enough time, it could be during our physical meetups. We can pick Azure AD, for instance, and go very deep into all those all those things. You understand? But these things that we are doing, especially for these 30 days, is an eye opener for us to open our eyes to what we can do or on Azure. So, like I said, I want to appreciate Mr. Nonso for taking his time. He's a very busy man. I want to say thank you for joining us on this call. Yes, sir.
Thank you, too, sir.
And tomorrow we'll be having another wonderful person on this call. Is one of the Linux guru that I know. He's very, very good with Linux. I've worked with him on some project or some customer issues, and I can tell you he's very grounded in Linux. So tomorrow we'll be talking about Linux in Azure. Okay. I don't know how you want to take it, but I want to believe he will take it from the basic. So which could even be an eye opener for people that are new to Linux, want to learn some Linux commands, how to do move, how to do copy, how to view, how to do permission, how to do a lot of things on Linux, even right from Azure. Okay, so I want us to be here tomorrow for people that are really interested to learn how Linux works in Azure. Okay, deploying of Linux VMs, how to create folders and files and editing and all sorts. Okay, so I believe tomorrow is going to be an interesting section. Tomorrow is Saturday. Yes, and like I said earlier, the recording will be provided. But like I said, our recording is currently being stored on Microsoft Stream. And even if I share the link to where the recordings are, we might still not be able to view those videos. So the plan is to download those videos. We'll create a channel on YouTube and we'll post those pictures or those videos on YouTube. Okay. But for the slides, yes, we'll get a slide provided for us either on this channel or on our WhatsApp group. Okay. So I want to thank everybody on this call for taking their time to join this section. I know it can be tiring, but I want us to keep going. This is an eye opener for us to see what we can gain on Azure. So I want to say thank you to everyone for joining this call and thank our special speaker, Mr. Nonso. That is bye for me. Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Nonso.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Nonso. We really appreciate your support. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, Paul.